In this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to write SEO content that will rank and bring you more organic traffic with the help of DeepSeek R1, which is the latest AI model coming out of the company by the same name of DeepSeek, which are from China. This strategy will help you create authentic sounding, valuable blog posts. It'll help you grow a lasting organic traffic, meaning that it won't be just good for today, tomorrow, next week. It'll bring you traffic month on month. And you'll write this content faster than you've probably written any AI content before that also is valuable and sounds authentic. We're going to do a couple of things for this strategy. It'll start by preparing your blog's resources, because you shouldn't just leave it all up to the AI itself. That's going to generate poor sounding content that is no good for anybody. We're going to get the blog idea, the keywords that we might want to integrate there organically, and also more importantly, the research which we want the AI to reference when it's writing this stuff. Additionally, we're going to prepare the prompt, meaning that these AI models, particularly R1, at least I've found, it writes a lot better if you prompt it correctly. And I've been crafting and improving a prompt over the past week now that I'm really liking the output of. Then with that prompt, we feed it the keywords and the research for a good output. And we want to do some additional polishing of the blog post by perhaps adding images here and there, maybe an illustration or two that add a little bit more value because it helps the explaining of the blog post. And more importantly, we're going to backlinking to other parts of your website. Internal linking is really good for SEO and something that people miss out on a lot. And for a little added bonus, we're going to submit the brand new blog post into Google Search Console. This will give us a higher possibility of getting indexed on Google quicker, meaning Google will crawl the blog post quicker and serve it to the right people. Using this same strategy that I'm about to show you, I've written these two blog posts here, which already, after a couple, maybe 7-8 days, have been bringing roughly 100 users to a brand spanking new website, which is not bad. And I like the fact that the average engagement per session, meaning how long the user's spending on these blogs, is roughly averaging 30 seconds, which might not seem much like to you, but this is actually a good result when it comes to people reading their blog posts. I know they're actually taking the time to read it. Whereas if I only had 2 seconds, then it would probably tell me that the blog post isn't providing any value to anyone. Now, I want to be very transparent and clear here. I'm showing you my Google Analytics results, which means this shows the data not only coming from organic Google search results, but data coming from YouTube, from LinkedIn, from TikTok, and anywhere else that I shared it, which you should be doing too. Don't just rely on Google. You need to be able to share your blog posts in as many different avenues as you can. This will send positive signals as well to the Google search engine, meaning that, hey, people are reading this. You might want to index it and show it to more people. In this day and age of AI, you need to try and get the most out of your content and use every strategy that you can to bring more organic traffic. You need to share it as many places as you can. And by doing this constantly, at least once a week, let's say, you have the opportunity of getting blog posts that have this performance. This is one blog post, and this is the total traffic that it's received only from Google over the past maybe 8 months. It's got around 5,634 total clicks, and it continues to bring traffic organically. If we were to pay for these keywords, let's say for a Google ad, we'd probably be spending a couple of $1,000 to get the same amount of clicks. That's where the beauty of this comes. Again, take this with a very large grain of salt, because ranking a blog post is not just about writing good content. That is one little piece of the Rubik's Cube puzzle that is SEO. There's a million other factors like, well, how many external domains are linking to the blog post? How good is the quality of the website? And a lot of other things. But in this video, I want to show you how to resolve that one piece of the Rubik's Cube puzzle, which is creating good content. So we're going to do this by writing the blog post using DeepSeek, and we're going to be predominantly using the R1. This is incredible because whilst it's free to use, it's just as good as OpenAI's O1 model, which up to this date, it's the smartest model they've got. So why not write with an incredibly smart AI model? I've got a Google Doc here that I've prepared earlier, and I want to show you that a little bit of preparation goes a long way. I've got here the blog resources, and I suggest you make the exact same document, and you need three main components here: the topic, the keywords, and the research, which will then place together with the prompt will make really, really good, easy, light work of this. So this doesn't have to be what you write about, and you don't have to, and you can really do this with whatever topic that it is you want to write about. For example, the topic for me is the fact that I want to write about the fact that America is spending $500 billion on AI, but China is managing to stay competitive with open source models that only take $5.5 million to train. I want to cover this aspect and what it might mean in the AI space for the next 5 years. I want to touch on both the negative and positive sides. I want a very natural sounding topic, like what am I writing about? And you should also include, well, which angle do you want to take about this? This is going to make your content even more natural to you. Now, you don't have to be that specific, but make sure you think about what you want to write about. And whilst my topic is a topic that I know is probably trending, AI America spending $500 billion, and also China competing really well with open source models, I know that's trending. So what kind of keywords do I want to place in that? People love to overcomplicate keyword research, but I'm going to make it as easy as possible as I can to you. I've used this free tool, which you can use as well. It's called Answer the Public. You can go onto it and they'll give you 3 free searches per day. I've done a search on DeepSeek R1, and I want to know, well, what are people asking in the United States about this? And I can see here that people are asking when DeepSeek released, or when was it released? How does it work? I definitely want that there. Let's read some more things. Is DeepSeek R1 open source? I definitely want to place that in there. And is it free? There are more questions here that people are asking. DeepSeek R1 versus GPT-O1. I really like that as well. So what you should do is find a few keywords related to the topic that you think you can naturally place within the blog post. Now, with keyword research, I also want to state that you should use it as a guide, not as a source of absolute truth. What do I mean by this? Well, see, I've done the keyword research for DeepSeek R1 in Ahrefs, which is an SEO tool, and it said that the monthly search volume for this keyword is 600, which I know is very much probably incorrect. There are a lot more people searching this globally. I can just be assured of it. Particularly with the questions, people are asking, what is DeepSeek R1? It's saying that it's only 10th monthly search volume expected. People are asking that question. I know there are more, but this is enough for me because I know that at least people are asking it. And I know that people will continue asking this question a lot more into the future. So even if this says, well, only 10 monthly people are searching for this, why will you bother? I will bother because I know that this in the future is going to help my organic traffic. So use these tools as a guide, not as a tool to help you make your decisions, because they're not absolutely correct 100% of the time. I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to go back to my Google Doc that I had here. So the keywords will obviously be DeepSeek R1. I also want to place in there some of the questions that I had in Answer the Public. Let's go up here. How DeepSeek R1 works. I like that question. I want to make sure that I answer that throughout the blog post. What I'm doing here is essentially adding value because I'm answering the questions that people are asking about this. And then I want to add one more that I had in there about verses that I really liked. Oh no, is DeepSeek open source? I really like that. And then let's add the final one, which was DeepSeek versus OpenAI O1. I want to be very specific here, and I want to go DeepSeek R1 versus OpenAI O1. Okay, now the research component here. Whilst DeepSeek has a search functionality, using it over the last 2 days, it seems to crash every time I use the search functionality because so many people are using it. Although the Deep Think functionality by itself is working. So if you're having that problem, we're going to do some search with Perplexity that will then feed into DeepSeek R1. So we're going to go to my original thought here, and I'm just going to grab this and go back to Perplexity and go research the following. And I've just pasted in there. You can do Pro, but I've run out. I've used it a lot today. And I'm going to copy the answer into that Google Sheet that we just made. Perfect. I just want to read this a little bit, make sure that it's the information that I want. Potential negative impacts, potential positive implications. Perfect. Okay. I'm going to copy it with this little copy button because that actually copies the resources or the references as well. That's what I want here. And I'm going to place the research in here. Just like that. Now, before I just paste this into DeepSeek, what I want is a good prompt. Now, I've got a prompt in the AI Ranking School community. This is a community where we teach or we simplify SEO, and we teach you how to maximize it with AI, much like we're showing you here. All the members have access to this prompt here. I'm going to grab that, and I'm just going to go to a brand new, I'll place it at the bottom here in a new page because I want to get things a little bit organized here. And I've got the prompt here. So write a blog post, and it's just telling to write a blog post in a conversational tone. If you don't like that tone, you'll have to amend your own prompt. And I suggest you start playing around with creating your own custom prompts. This is going to make your content sound different from others. And I've got here, the topic is, and I need to insert the topic that you'd like to focus on. And I just need to insert the topic that I had here. So I've placed what the topic I want to write about. I also need to grab the keyword section, which is the ones that I created there. And in the point number 6 at the bottom, try to naturally include the following keywords in the blog post. I'll copy them here. And then right at the bottom, I'm just going to add one more thing and go research. And then paste all of the research from, just going to place it there. This might seem like a lot of stuff that we're giving it, but trust me, it'll work a lot better if we are giving it all this information. Now we're going to go to DeepSeek and make sure that you've got the search disabled. You can try it with it enabled and then forget about the research part, but I'm just going to go DeepSeek R1 without the research. And I'm just going to add one more component at the end of my prompt. I want to make sure that this is a little bit longer. Oh no, 1,500 words at least. Perfect. I'm going to go to write. And you can see how it's starting to think about this. Okay, let's tackle this blog post. I love it. I love how you can see it thinking. It's a great insight on how this model works. Now, I'm in the back end of my website. I use a Webflow website. It doesn't really matter what CMS or website builder you use. You'll be able to follow along very, very much the same. So let's go back to DeepSeek and see what it's writing. Okay, beautiful. So I've got here the 500 billion versus 5.5 million AI showdown, what China open source means for the future. And let's read the first sentence here. And you tell me in the comments if you think it sounds natural or not. Let's talk about the lopsided tech rivalry you've probably never heard of. The US is pouring 500 billions to a moonshot AI project called Stargate, while China's DeepThink model rivals OpenAI's GPTs just for 5.6 million. Yes, you read that right. One country spending 89,000 times more than the other to create the same goal. Crazy. I like the way that it's placed it. You see that it's linking to the sources as we asked it. Beautiful. Now you can start right away placing this onto your blog post and see what it looks like. And it's looking okay here. I know that in parts, the tables will need a bit of amending, and I'm going to show you how to fix that at the moment. But I just want to see, okay, perfect. I'm actually going to copy it like this because Webflow just works a little bit better like that when I copy it like that. Perfect. Now I want to go through the blog post here and see what it's looking like. And I know that the section here that says DeepSeek R1 versus OpenAI O1, which is one of the keywords we asked it to integrate in there, which so we can tick that off, has a table. And although that usually the tables, depending on which CMS you use, won't kind of be formatted correctly, but there's a little trick to making sure that they do. And I'm going to show you that now. I just need to find it in the back end here. So you can see that the table doesn't really work well here, which is fine. What we're going to do is delete that here. And in here, we're going to inject the HTML of that table. That might sound a little bit complicated. Don't worry, we're going to do it in the same conversation we were having with DeepSeek R1. We're going to grab this here. So this will mean that what we're doing now, you can do on every single website builder. So we're going to ask it to build the HTML code of the table that you created, and we're going to give it the table. So I've just said it, okay, build the HTML code only of the table you created. Ensure that it looks nice with sufficient padding around the cell. It needs just a tiny bit of prompting. And now you can see that it's giving us the HTML code. If you've never coded in your life, do not worry. This is going to be nice and easy. We're going to copy this and we're going to go to our website builder. And any website builder that you have will have some sort of option where you can embed some HTML. I'm going to place that in there. I'm going to save and close. And now I know that I can delete the source because it had it in the table there. Now, I need to do a few other things as well. I need to create an image here. And this really will change on what kind of image styles you like for your blog post. You can see that in my blog post, I have these kind of glitched screen effect. And I can do this with pretty much any AI image generator. But lately, I'm really liking image effects from Google. You can try this for free as well. I'll leave a link to Google Labs FX. And I've got a prompt pre-saved that will pretty much give me the same style of that image, but I'll change the wording inside. And Google has this thing where the actual words within the images are great. It almost always really works well. Perfect. So now I had to play around with it a little bit, but now I've got here private AI versus open source, private versus open source, private AI versus open source. I like this one here. I'm going to download it. I know though that I need to do a tiny little thing here. When you download from Google FX, and this is very specific to this app, it downloads it in JPEG. I don't want a JPEG. I want what's called a WebP. And I want this because a WebP file has practically the same quality, but it is a lot lighter, making sure my on-site SEO keeps as optimized as it possibly can be. So I'm going to convert this. You can use convertio.co, a free tool. It is great. And you can see that I'm converting it now, and it's going to be a lot lighter here. I'm going to download this now. And just as an extra little added bonus, I'm going to rename this open source, private versus open source AI. Just so that the title of that image, what its name, makes sense within the blog post as well. I'm going to go back to my blog post. I need to place in the image here, and the main image, I'm going to grab the image that I selected there. Now, you need to do your post summary. I know that that is my meta description. Where you place your meta description will change between your CMS. If you have WordPress, I recommend you install something like Yoast, and it'll be very easy to amend the meta description. I'm going to go back to the exact same speech or conversation that I've got with DeepSeek and go create an optimized meta description for this blog post. And you'll be able to see how it's thinking about this. And it knows that it should be under 160 characters in length. I'm just asking it to making it slightly shorter and just give me the actual wording. I don't want code. I could have just extracted it from the code. No big deal, but you can go back and forth with it. Perfect. I like that here. I'm going to go back to Webflow. I've got here the meta description. China's 5.5 million DeepSeek challenges US's 500 billion AI bet how open source frugality could shape global source tech dominance in the next 5 years. I like that. I'm going to make sure this is featured. I need to add my author, and that is me, of course. I probably should place in there a DeepSeek as well, but anyway. Now, the blog post is nearly ready. I want to show you what it looks like. I'm going to save as a draft first. And I'm going to... Now you can see, now I'm going to show you what it looks like. I need to amend it a little bit, but it's looking okay. It's got all the backlinking to the sources. My table looks fantastic. I really like that. Perfect. Now I just need to fix this little thing. And what we're going to do in the meanwhile as well, we're going to see where else we can prompt it. Now, I know that I have a blog post explaining in detail DeepSeek R1 versus O1. So what I'm going to do here is just in the actual H1, and that's okay, I'm going to link to that page, and I've got it here. That one here, and I want to make sure as well as an extra tip that I open in another bar. Perfect. So now it's backlinked to another part of my website. And let's see, I also want to, in how it works, I probably want to explain that a little bit better. And I think a nice little illustration will go a long way there. What you want to do is select a section of your blog post that you think could be further explained with a good illustration. And you want to use this very handy little AI app called napkin.ai. I'll leave a link to it below. It's completely free, at least as of the time of this recording. I'm going to paste the section that I want to generate an illustration out of. I'm going to select the entire thing and click this button here. It's going to read it, understand it, and think about how I can make an illustration out of this whole thing. So how does DeepSeek R1 work? Perfect. I think this looks great. I can also select the styling. I'm going to choose just a very more professional looking one. And I need to export as a PNG, which is fine. I'm going to download, but I want to go back to the same application here that I use, Convert.io. And I want to convert the PNG again to a WebP file. You don't want PNG files, you want WebP files. I need to get that in a shirt and print it. Okay, I'm going to download this now. And that already has a good title to it, so I don't need to change that too much. I'm going to go to my blog post, I'm going to place it here, and I'm going to place the image right under there. You should be able to place an image however you want in your website builder. All right, perfect. Okay, now it's looking a little bit better. I'm going to again publish this. Go back to the front end, and I'm going to show you the completed item here. The 500 billion versus 5.5 million AI showdown, what China's open source surge means to the future. David and Goliath battle, how does DeepSeek work? Now I've got a nice little illustration helping that as well. Is DeepSeek open source? And I'm backlinking here. Okay, DeepSeek versus R1. Let's read more a little bit about that. Let's go in there. Let's go into my other blog post about that details this. And if I go down, there's also a beautiful looking table. I like it. Not bad. I'm really, really happy with that. Now, if you're happy with the outcome of your blog post, you've got your little illustrations, everything's backlinking, you're internally backlinked, you're happy with how that's looking. Last final thing to do is you grab the URL of that new blog post, you go to your Google Search Console account, and under performance, you want to inspect the URL, you give it the URL that you just generated. It's going to try to retrieve the data from Google, realize that there's no data in Google about that blog post because it was just published, and you want to press this button, request indexing. That's going to kind of knock on Google's door and say, hey, I've published this really cool blog post. Do you want to read it, index it, and put it into your database? Now, that's not to say that it will do it instantly. And in fact, sometimes it takes a little while, but it might give you that just little edge to get that published a lot quicker than otherwise if you wouldn't do that. And the more you do this, the more you get into a flow, and the quicker you'll get at writing this way. Again, if you don't like the prompt or the styling of it, you really need to make that prompt your own. I hope you liked this video. And if you found value in any video, consider subscribing and liking the video. I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you so much for watching. See ya.